Hello, Sheridan family. It's Mrs. Drabic here, and I'm going to be reading from a Disney bedtime storybook. And my story is Monsters, Inc. The Spooky Sleepover. It was a quiet morning at Monsters, Inc. James P. Sullivan was looking over the monthly laugh reports, and Sully was the president of Monsters, Inc. Suddenly, the phone rang. "Hello," Sully said. "It's dispatch," said the voice on the other end of the line. "Annual slumber party at little Shannon Brown's house, and we need a replacement because Waxman is sick." Sully thought about who he could send. He wanted to put his best monsters on the case. He smiled to himself. Who better for the job than his best friend, Mike Wazowski? Mike could make anybody laugh, and he was the top laugh collector at Monsters, Inc. Sully knew his best friend would be perfect for the job. Mike was in the locker room getting ready for the workday when Sully walked in and explained the situation. "I'm your man," Mike said confidently. "Great," Sully said. Whistling, he went back to his office to finish his laugh reports. "A room full of kids. Collecting laughs will be a piece of cake," Mike said as the front door slid into his station and the laugh floor. Mike opened the door and walked through the closet into Shannon Brown's house. But it was empty. "Hello," Mike called. He looked around and peeked under the bed, but there was no one there. Just as Mike started walking towards the closet, he heard laughter. "All right, now we're talking," Mike said. "Kids prepared to roll with laughter." Just then, a flash of lightning lit up the dark room and thunder cracked across the sky, and Mike jumped. If there was one thing that scared him, it was thunderstorms. Mike raced back to the closet, but when he opened the door, he was standing in a normal closet, not the laugh floor. Mike realized that the lightning must have broken the door. He knew that he needed to find the slumber party and another closet door fast. Heading into the dark hallway, Mike tried to follow the sound of laughter. The floor creaked spookily beneath him. Mike stopped and looked around. The wall was covered with creepy paintings of people that all seemed to be staring at him. "I've got to get out of here," Mike muttered to himself. Then he saw something scary that made him freeze in his tracks. Sitting at the end of the hall was a large, furry creature with fangs. Thinking that the fellow was another monster, Mike started to walk closer, relieved. Suddenly, the creature jumped on him, knocking him down. It wasn't a monster, it was a dog. "Ah!" Mike screamed. He hated dogs. Mike pushed the dog off him and ran into a nearby room, then slammed the door. Whew, he was safe for now. Meanwhile, Sully was working on the laugh floor. "Sully, Sully," the floor manager shouted, running over. "Mike still hasn't returned from the slumber party." When Sully checked the door, he found that it wasn't working, and he knew that Mike was trapped. Sully didn't like the idea of Mike being stuck in Shannon's house. He needed to fix the door now. He quickly brought in a maintenance crew, and together the monsters tried to get the door to work properly, but nothing worked. Suddenly, the monsters knew. Sully and the monsters decided to try getting into Shannon's house using a new door. Finally, it made a clicking sound, and it worked. Now the door would open into a different room into Shannon's house. Back in the house, Mike opened another door, and it led to the bathroom. As Mike searched for the light switch, he tripped on a yellow rubber duck. "Ouch," he said as he went flying through the floor like a ball. Finally, Mike crashed into the wall and came to a stop. Suddenly, he heard giggling from down the hall. Mike did not like this assignment or this house. But as long as he was stuck there, he was determined to find the party. Lifting himself off the floor, he followed the laughter to a door. But when he opened it, the room grew quiet. Slowly, Mike entered the dark, silent room. All of a sudden, a light went on. Mike jumped. Shannon Brown and all of her friends roared with laughter. They thought Mike looked funny sneaking into the room. "Ah!" Mike was so scared that he couldn't stop yelling. At that moment, the closet door opened and Sully burst into the room. When he heard Mike screaming, he started screaming too, and Mike jumped into Sully's arms. The girls at the slumber party laughed even harder. A big blue monster with purple spots Hugging a one-eyed green monster was the funniest thing they ever saw. Mike and Sully smiled at each other. Then Mike jumped to the floor and they both took a bow, and the kids cheered. Looks like our work here is done, Sully said with a smile. He and Mike headed through the closet door back to the laugh floor. They had filled so many canisters with laughs that Mike became the top scarer of the day. I was never scared for a second, Mike said, hoping Sully would believe him. Me either, buddy, Sully replied, his big furry fingers crossed behind his back. Me either. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed reading with me, and we can't wait to see you all soon. We miss you, Sheridan family. Have a great night.